Howdy folks, I'm Common Chameleus, casually casting common charms.
I'm Amber.
And here are more common charms for us to cast because apparently we're magical flowers. We're like that Mario flower that shoots fireballs. Those are the kinds of charms that we're casually casting. Mayhem and destruction. And folks, as you know, it is Thursday, and you know what that means? Amber has snuck out of the shadows to join us today. Amber's feeling social today. Let's get started. And by social, I mean wanting to stare at a computer while sitting next to me.
Yes, very social.
Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Asking My Wife if Participating in Her Adult Ballet Program Recital is Necessary? I'm a 45-year-old male and my wife is a 44-year-old female, and she joined an adaptive adult dance program at a local ballet school. Adaptive meaning that it claims to cater to adults with various physical or learning disabilities. She suffered a stroke 4 years ago and has had physical and cognitive issues since. Doctors have told us, despite her working with medical professionals on the shortcomings in the past and present, that we will have to come to terms with this new normal. I've noticed a steep decline in her coordination abilities, and she is unable to get across her points as well as she used to. I'm going to be honest, our relationship has suffered. It's not just losing the wife that I once had, but also the dreams that I had put on hold after her stroke, including having at least one other child. We have a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I'm trying to be cordial with her because it's my duty as a father, but we've been living separate lives, and it's an unspoken agreement. One of us will start the divorce process after our oldest goes to college this year. My wife's support group recommends that she try this adaptive dance to help her feel graceful and with her physical rehab. My wife told us last week that her class is holding a recital the first week of June. I was very surprised to hear that, since I thought recitals were inherently for studios to show parents who pay their kids dance classes how much their kids have improved under their teachers, to give them an idea of where they'll go from here. Or for parents, because when it's your kid, that you love anything that features them. I didn't understand why the adaptive ballet class was holding a recital, or why they were preparing like this is a showcase. I don't see why any of them have to prove, or anybody out there who they have to prove it to, or is demanding to see their progress. I felt like it was unnecessary, and a bit like a play redoing some sort of childhood, because my wife barely danced as a child. My 17-year-old daughter was inviting relatives to come, and I was worried that they would think that they were obligated to be there, and they would treat it as if it was a serious undertaking by the performers, when it was a very recreational class where my wife admits the teachers focus on fun over anything else. I decided to ask my wife if she really wanted to participate, or if she even needed to. It just seems unnecessary when it's been nothing serious, just 1 or 2 times a week to break from typical physical rehab. I told her that it's a very busy time at my job as I take on extra work to onboard for our summer interns and set up our mentorship program and host events as part of my position, so I really just can't take off even when I work late. She got angry and burst into tears, saying that she hoped that the class would help her see herself as a beautiful, happy person again instead of a patient, and that I would see her that way too. Am I the jerk? I just feel that this is being blown up to be a stressful and monumental thing. Alright folks, what do you think?
Major jerk straight into the centrifuge for OP.
Straight into the centrifuge. Yes. We're bringing back the centrifuge.
We are bringing back the centrifuge for this OP.
Yeah.
Now, my mom had a stroke in September, so this one hits a little close to home, but just the awfulness of OP here, the way he talks, like in the comments, he's like, oh, I love her so much. No, if you loved her, you would find a way to make time to be there. Or if you couldn't, you would be like, honey, I'm so sorry. My schedule is so busy, but I am looking forward to seeing the video recording. And you'd send your daughter with flowers to sit there in the front row and give them to her. You would find a way to make this matter to her.
Yeah.
You know that thing he says about how, oh, well, parents, they go to see their kids because it's their kids. If you love your partner, you would go to see something your partner does. And it's great because it's your partner. It doesn't mean you have to love ballet. It means you love her enough to be like, oh, look, she's doing this thing that makes her happy, and that's beautiful.
Well, I think also the big issue here is that OP gave up on his wife a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. He treats this as though she is a burden or an inconvenience on him. Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem to have any empathy or compassion or anything but contempt or malice for his wife.
Right.
And like when he says that oh, we had a mutual understanding, an unspoken agreement that when our oldest goes off to college, that we're going to be done with. I think that this is really one-sided,
It's
right?
very clear that his wife is still holding out hope, and she still wants him to see her as someone who's beautiful and happy
Mm-hmm.
and worthy of his love.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, he's just checked out and like, nope, nope, this is over. So this, yeah, it's 100% one side if you read his comments.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to, he was so obsessed with like moving on and having his other kid and having more adult intimate time. And that's the other thing about this too, is like, if he was talking about caretaker fatigue and stuff like that, oh, this is so hard juggling all these new responsibilities, I'd have a little more sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
But his only complaint about this is that his wife is not able to give him intimate time in the way he wants it and not able to give him another kid.
Well, and I wonder even if that's true, right? I mean, like she might not be able to give him another kid, but if she is saying that she wants to be beautiful and whatnot to him, then maybe he's rejecting her advances. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's like selfishly like pushing her aside because he doesn't want it to work, right? So I get a lot of vibes here that he's just trying to make it seem like he's not the bad person
Mm-hmm.
in this whole situation where he's like, "Oh, I'm not that bad. It was a mutual decision to end the
Right.
relationship."
Yeah, well, what about those marriage vows, in sickness and in
Mhm.
health, till death do us part? It seems like as soon as she's no longer exactly the wife he once had, she's now,
Mhm.
a great,
Damaged.
yeah, and it's just such a gross ableist attitude. So I know I went in a bit of a rant, but like, this guy needs a centrifuge.
Yeah, he really does. I just feel bad for his wife here because
Mm-hmm.
it's clear that she's trying and she's working hard to try to, move forward with recovery and like cut her some slack. Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, like it takes some time to recover from a stroke, and maybe you won't always fully recover from one. And there are always going to be some level of physical or mental disability associated with that.
Well, and the sabotage too. Like he's not only is he not participating, he's trying to tell the other family members,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's not important. One of the things that you can do to help someone who is recovering from something like a stroke is be a strong support system, because there's a mental component that goes to it as well. Once your brain is damaged, it has to rebuild all these neural pathways, and the more someone feels like they're loved and supported and have something to live for, the more likely it is they're going to get to their whatever level of functioning they can,
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of random how your brain is able to rewire itself or not. But
Mm-hmm.
he's like, oh no, these people, it's not important, they don't have to show up there. Like the 17-year-old daughter is being a better person to her mom. She's being a great support system,
Mm-hmm.
but she's taking on the type of responsibility that OP should be shouldering.
Yeah. Well, let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck to his wife.
Yes.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Asking My Wife Not to Hang Out with Her Friend Who Has a Different Lifestyle Than Us Because I'm Afraid of Losing Her? And Amber wants to read this one.
Throwaway account because I mostly use Reddit for work-related topics. I'm a 37-year-old male and my wife is a 35-year-old female, and we've been married for 14 years. We met when we were both in college. She studied literature, I studied engineering, and was getting into tech. We were dating for 2 years when she got pregnant, and we decided to get married and start a family. We decided together that I would work and she would be a stay-at-home mom because it would be difficult for her to find a well-paying job with her major, and I was already starting to earn quite well. I've also always had a fairly conservative approach to family life, and I was happy to be sole provider. She always wanted to be a mom and was looking forward to being a stay-at-home mom. Right now, our children are 14 and 12 years old. I have a good job, and my wife stays home taking care of the house. This arrangement has always suited her, but recently she has begun to mention that she feels a bit lonely and lacks friends, especially now that the children are older and she has more time to herself. Indeed, our social life mostly consisted of meetings with my work colleagues and their wives, whom my wife can hardly call friends. That's why I was happy at first when my wife ran into her best friend from college, let's call her Anna. According to my wife, they got along so well as if they didn't have an almost 14-year-old break in their contact. When my wife got pregnant, she drifted apart from her college friends. They started meeting for coffee quite often. When my wife returned from these meetings, she was overjoyed and excited and told me a lot about Anna. It was then that I began to worry. During the time my wife had no contact with her, Anna got her PhD in literature, started teaching at the university, and became the editor of one of the most important cultural magazines in our country. Her husband is an award-winning writer, apparently very well recognized. It's hard for me to say anything about this as I have no idea about literature. They earn well, do not have and do not want children, and basically lead a carefree lifestyle completely different from ours. They have lots of friends from their literary academic circle, consider these friends family, and go several times a week to various author meetings, galas, gallery openings, and who knows what else. From what I've gathered, they're also much more progressive and liberal than I am. For example, they divide all of their chores and bills 50-50, and they have a mixed gender group of friends. Anna is friends with men and her husband with women, which I always considered inappropriate in a serious relationship. My wife invited Anna and her husband to dinner because she really wanted me to meet them. She hoped we would both start going to all these cultural events with them. They were very polite and respectful and didn't comment in any way on the differences in our lifestyles, but dinner was nevertheless quite tiresome for me, as I didn't have any common topics with them. My wife knows that I don't share her passion for literature, just as she doesn't share my interest in technology, but this has never been an issue in our marriage. We traveled together, went on bike trips, went to our favorite restaurants and movies, etc. I didn't understand why she suddenly wants this to change. Anna started taking my wife to some of the literary events organized by her magazine and also invited her to write a couple of reviews for a column she is running. She apparently sees great potential in my wife and appreciates her insight, which my wife accepted with great joy. I was torn. On one hand, I was happy that my wife didn't feel alone and that she had something to do when the kids are at school or with their friends. On the other hand, I was afraid that I was losing my wife, that she would turn to someone else under Anna's influence. I was also afraid that other men will hit on her at events Anna invites her to. Even though my wife repeats that all of Anna's friends know that she is married and a mother, they never cross any boundaries and always speak of her family with respect. I finally told my wife that I was uncomfortable with her friendship with Anna, that I was afraid this relationship would change her for the worse, and that she would no longer care about our marriage and children. I said that I can't forbid her from doing anything, but I would feel much better if she didn't go to all these events with Anna, and that if she didn't accept the offer to write reviews for her magazine. My wife said that the friendship with Anna is very important to her, that she's been feeling depressed lately, spending most of the day at home all alone, and that contact with people with whom she can talk about things she's passionate about has made her feel significantly better. I promised to her that I will work less and that I will spend more time with her. I also repeated that I could not forbid her to see Anna and her friends, but this friendship really makes me uncomfortable. She was sad but understood me and said that she'll stop spending time with Anna. Yesterday, I talked to my older brother, whose advice I always appreciate about the situation. He said that me and my wife married really young and that it's understandable that she might feel like she's missing out on things outside the family. He also said that the only way to make sure that my wife is with me because she really loves me and not because she's just stuck with me and has no other options is to give her the freedom to spend time with other people, even though it makes me uncomfortable. It really made me think and question my own behavior. I really don't want to be a person who limits my wife's freedom, but I also don't want to be tempting fate in order to see if she really loves me. It would break my heart to lose her, and maybe deep inside I feel like she would leave me if she had any other options. So I don't want her to have these options. I feel like garbage. Am I the jerk?
All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk. Your wife needs social interaction, and you're trying to limit her because it might inconvenience you. You seem to not have any concern about her well-being. Like, she's been telling you, I'm depressed, I'm not happy. And then she finds these friends who make her really happy, and all OP can think about is, well, but she might leave me. She might realize that I'm actually not that much of a catch. I gotta stifle her. Can't let her know her full potential so she just, doesn't leave me.
Anna does not seem like a bad influence.
No, it seems like she was a very supportive person in OP's wife's life.
Yeah, and I think that OP is certainly seems like he's a person who can change, and I really hope that they can look at this and reflect on this and then actually work towards becoming a better person, right? Because I have a little bit of hope with the whole, I talked with my brother and my brother's like, yeah, this is kind of garbage behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to realize that he is acting very controlling and manipulative there at the end when he's like, I feel like I'm a bad person, right? So I really hope that he can take this as an opportunity either to go into therapy and start working through some of these insecurities and not to stifle his wife and try to control her and force her not to expand out into her full capabilities, right?
Yeah, because running a guilt trip is so manipulative.
Yeah.
You'd be like, well, I can't force you, but it makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You are essentially limiting her in that way. She feels like she has no option but to acquiesce to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And her entire life, it sounds like, has revolved around making you and the kids happy. It's important that she has happiness for herself, too. Has people in her corner who are supporting her.
Yeah, and I also want to point out that, she had to sit through all of these boring
Mm-hmm.
technology, meetings for 14 years,
Yeah.
and he can't even do it for a month, right? I mean, come on, guy. Really? Like one dinner and you're already tapping out because you don't understand books?
Well, that's the thing. It seems like he's a very self-centered perspective, and he doesn't seem to like hasn't noticed for 14 years that his wife has no social life
Mm-hmm.
and is feeling miserable.
Yeah. Like, she wants to be able to talk about books. That's her passion. Your passion is technology, and that's perfectly fine. There isn't anything wrong with that. But maybe, maybe pick up a book and read it for her. I don't know. And maybe she can look into some technology with you. I don't know. Like, I mean, there has to be some kind of compromise where you two can enjoy each other's, shared interests.
Or you can just like have your own separate friend circles. Not
Mm-hmm.
everything has to be shared between partners.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if they could spend
Yeah.
more time doing stuff like that, where it might feel more satisfying to her.
Yeah, well, I just because it seems like OP doesn't value literature. He sees technology as valuable because
Hmm.
it's his thing, but literature, why would he trifle with literature? And he's fine stifling her from having literature related friendships because.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why does Jake wear gloves to turn on his computer?
Well, Jake wears gloves to turn on his computer because Jake doesn't understand that electrostatic force won't pass into his computer and ignite it into like a living AI creature.
To protect against computer bites.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That's not what they mean, Jake, but it makes sense. And I have licorice spice.
Jake has a lot of misunderstandings, it seems like.
Jake has a tremendous number of misunderstandings and misnomers. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior, folks.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it in the form of showing appreciation towards your partner's passions and goals.
You don't have to love your partner's interests to love them enough to appreciate the things that they excel at and showcase.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.